Hello, welcome back to the channel. So instead of talking about designer dupes, although I am wearing a dupe sweatshirt from Etsy, I'm talking about Amazon FBA. And how did I get started in this? Well, I love passive income and I love retail arbitrage, which is just going to the store and finding stuff, and if I can do that and make money off of it, your girl's into it. So first off, I want to say, if you don't know what Amazon FBA is, I'm sure you've seen some ads all over the place, whatnot. That's how I essentially got sucked in and intrigued by doing this, was all these YouTube ads. The one thing I do want to say is, before I even tell you what it is, if you don't know what it is, do not buy a course. Do not buy a $10 course, a $200 course, a $500 course. I learned everything from fellow YouTubers and or Google. So do not waste your money, which you could put in to buying merch to then resell and make a profit off of it, off of those ebooks, because I will show you here too how I found from another fellow YouTuber. I'll pop her video up there of how to get ungated in things, and you don't need a whole ebook for that. So basically, Amazon FBA, long story short, you have to get a business name. You don't actually need a total LLC or anything. You can be a sole proprietorship, and I just named mine an available name, which was probably at TJ Maxx, because I was thinking that I would just be going to TJ Maxx and Marshalls, etc. And that's it. Literally doing this from my home. You don't need an office, a PO box, whatever. You can just use whatever you have. So it is $39.99 a month as the selling fees, but you can easily surpass that and make huge profits. I kid you not. I was gonna go to Walmart and I went to Goodwill thinking maybe I'll just get some books, because there's this video of this one guy who made over $80,000 off of used books while being a student. So I was like, that makes sense. Used books are like 50 cents. You can really make a good profit here. And I found so many random houseware items, baby items that I wasn't gated in, so I can just use them. And I sold almost all of the things within a week. I'll put a little screenshot of my first week's sales, and it's literally the most random thing, like this very specialty light bulb for this lamp that they don't even make anymore. These random like door stoppers, baby door stoppers, this random hook, stuffing for like stuffed animals and stuff like that. Soon to come, this box here is from a wholesaler named Dollar Days, and no, it's not some crappy dollar store. I got Ungated in Topicals for under $40, and this box here is containing something that I will sneak peek, and it was only $23, and it got me ungated in food. So I'll bring you along for this journey. Do not buy an ebook. You can do this on your own with YouTubers. It's so simple. And do not spend over $100 to get gated in something. There are wholesalers like this Dollar Days, I'm sure. There's other ones just like it. And yes, you may not make a profit. Like, I think I'm literally gonna break even with this selling it, but who cares, as long as you're ungated. And for $23, that is an amazing deal, because grocery is one of the most lucrative parts of Amazon FBA. So if you don't know what Amazon FBA, it in a 15-second spiel is, there's two parts to it: retail arbitrage, which is going to the store, or if you have anything lying around your house that you don't use that is brand new with a barcode on it and packaged, you can then pick a price and resell it on Amazon for a profit. Amazon takes some of the fees, but Amazon does all that dirty work. They pack it, they send it to the people, they worry about that. All you have to do is pack it up and send it to their warehouse. They figure out the logistics, etc. Super easy, and it's fun. You gotta like bag it up, barcode it, etc. There's a few other requirements, like your bags must say that they have the suffocation label, etc., but just like normal life things that you would hope that a business was following. And then the second part, which I am not doing, is private label, where you buy something in bulk off of Alibaba, AliExpress. You then turn it into an item with your own barcode. You can buy your own barcodes, barcodes.com, barcodesmania, etc., and then you market and sell it to Amazon. and make it live. You add the photos, the descriptions, etc. And then with that, there's just more of the risk that you're buying into like 1,000+ units. So I think the retail arbitrage side of it is super fun and easy, especially if you're just starting out, you don't know how much time you have for this, or you don't really have as much money to invest. You can literally, I've gotten stuff from Goodwill, garage sales, TJ Maxx, Walmart, random things I had not using that are brand new. And you can also sell used things. You can sell used books, used textbooks, some Christmas decor. You know you're just never gonna use that gift that your grandma gave you. She'll never check Amazon for it, kind of thing. So it's super easy and it's really fun, the little hunt and find of it. So I'm gonna show you now how to get ungated in grocery for $23. So don't be discouraged if you are ungated in anything, because as I said, I went to Goodwill and I scanned things across the whole store, every life category, and I could sell almost everything in each category. The one that you 100% and everybody is restricted in right off the bat is grocery. Now with this too, you can just apply to sell and see if it works for you. Like, it does work for random brands. Like, I randomly got ungated in Vital Proteins, which I guess you could argue is a part of grocery because it's something that you are consuming. So just for fun, you can type in random brands or just scan things and just apply. It's honestly kind of random, and two, it just depends on your seller history. I mean, I've only sold in 2 weeks $300 worth of stuff from Goodwill, so it's nothing like high ticket, nothing amazing by any means, nothing even like trending like toy wise or anything. And they're starting to unlock me in more things, so literally just give it a try because it's totally different for each person. I honestly think it's kind of like a lucky raffle of what you're going to be ungated in. And if you see some of the more experienced people in this, especially across YouTube, they most likely started years ago, and I've learned through other YouTube videos that back then, when not as many people were doing this, Amazon was just like, green light, green light, green light, green light, like you guys can all sell things. And now they're gating you in the most wanted and hot areas, so that forces you to do this, which is go to a wholesaler. Now, you cannot just go to Target and buy 48 different items, because that is not a wholesaler. That's not buying in bulk. Yes, it's the same item, and yes, it's the same quantity, but Amazon wants to know you're legit, that you and your business are capable of figuring out how to order in bulk and get an invoice. They don't care about that pack and slip. They care about you buying in bulk from another distributor. So with this too, you obviously are going to maybe break even, maybe make some money off of it, but most of the time, because these wholesalers already have things so cheap and Amazon already has them so crazy cheap, is you're not going to be making much money. But that's okay, because as long as you don't have to spend like $100, like I saw one girl who spent $100 on CarMax to barely break even just to get ungated in like beauty topicals. I got from this Dollar Days place as well, the little mini herbal essences shampoos, and that was $35, and it got me ungated in topicals. So like, do not spend over $50 to get ungated. Step one, I think it's easiest. It's worked for other YouTubers that I've seen. I trusted their word. Obviously they didn't like show me their legit invoice, but I will show you my invoice up on the screen, and I'll take you along to the Dollar Days website. So here they have various items, and you can kind of choose right off the bat what you want to do. If you want to do topicals, I would suggest doing the mini shampoos. There's even these little ice packs. They're called like these boo-boo bandages. Super cute. I also got those because you can actually make a profit off of those. But just the most random things can help you get ungated. So first, because the wholesaler's barcode, UPC, SKU number won't match up with Amazon. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on Amazon Seller Central, which I'll walk you through, and click inventory, add a product, and then you're going to type in the name of the product, and then you're going to find the exact same one. and most likely there's going to be like over 10 plus options of the same thing. So what you need to look for is to make sure that it is the right quantity for you, the same, like if the packaging is a little different, that's okay, because packaging does change over time and they don't always change the pictures, but just make sure it's the same flavor, the same smell, the same size, etc. So just check it all out before you know that you want to go in and then buy that on the wholesaler. So with that, once it all matches up, I would click before just plunging in and buying it, even though you know you have to click the blue button of apply to sale. I would click on it, because sometimes too, what I learned and I'm currently stuck with, for some things you do need a letter also from the FDA. It's not just strictly sending your invoice and then sending a picture of the actual merchandise that you bought. So with this too, you can't just go buy it and then send the invoice and you get approved. No, you actually have to wait for the physical stuff to get to your house, apartment, wherever you live, and take a picture of the actual goods so that they can just see that like this isn't a scam, this is real, it's legit. But like for me, I saw that I could get ungated in the topicals and the food, so then I was like, oh, I'll just throw some feminine pads in there as well, because they were cheap and I could make money off of them easily. But I didn't click on the apply to sell, and now I'm waiting for a 501k pre-market notification from the wholesaler to get approval, because some things do have that extra step. Or example, for some brand names, especially medical supplies like Medline, like Johnson & Johnson, etc., you will need sometimes an actual letter from the supplier and or like special terms, etc., on the invoice. So just be careful. Technically everything we're buying is like name brand, but just make sure too that that's not a third entity. Sometimes it's either or, like a letter from the brand or the invoice. So make sure whatever application that you're about to submit, that it only says the invoice or the brand, not both plus pictures. Because I also saw a girl who lived in Texas and I live in Minnesota, and they don't have an actual wholesaler that I could find. Like Costco and Sam's Club do not count as wholesalers because that's a receipt. You need an invoice. But she went to some, I guess they have actual brick and mortar wholesalers in Texas, and she got an actual invoice, but it was brand name chips. So then she got halted, like how I got halted by the brand name, which has happened to me before. So again, just open that application and then kind of rework it, because sometimes too with these, if you do want to return them, I would make sure that you can return them, and or then you may be responsible for the shipping fees to return it back, and or you may have to pay upfront like 20-30% of the actual price, as they have like restocking fees. And by then, if you're gonna spend like 20 bucks and you paid 50 bucks for it, it might be worth it just to keep it or give it away, etc. So just make sure too with any of these purchases, in case anything does go awry, that it is something you'll use, or you'll know that somebody will use, or you literally just like won't shed a tear if you throw 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks out the window, because that could happen. So it should work perfectly, but just make sure that before you click buy, that it just shows online that you just need that invoice and the pictures, and it's literally so easy. You will be approved in minutes. So I'll show you on the website how this worked for me. So I'll show you up on the screen of what I chose from Dollar Days, but this is it. Oh, it smells nice. I don't actually eat ramen. So as you can see, it's all packed up nicely. So I got, here's the other one. I can't get it out. So we got 2 of these. We got a pack of 24. Now with this, the only thing for any sort of ungating is you need a minimum of 10 units in bulk. Now most cases come in at least 12, sometimes 24, 50. So you should never have an issue hitting that 10 item minimum. And then 2, just make sure when you do get your receipt and get your invoice that it does say, instead of 1 case, that somewhere on the invoice it needs to say that there are X amount of units, and make sure that that is over 10, because that happened to me before where it says 1 case and I write in the little blurb how much is in 1 case, and I have a picture of all the units so they can tell it's more than just 1 unit, but it's literally like you have to talk to a kindergartner. You have to map it out exactly, and you have to make sure it all matches up. No seller would ever sell 1 case of 1 unit. I mean, maybe, but with wholesale, nah. But they don't care. They just need it printed on the page how many units. So you can obviously just like change up the PDF yourself, scribble it out, or you could ask them to do a formal change on the invoice by the wholesaler. Most of the time they will say no, they cannot change it, but you can just change it. Like once they accidentally typed in 1 instead of, and the thing I bought was 50 units, and I just like crossed it off and then it worked and I got approved. So it is easy to do, but you just literally need to spell it all out for them. So then for this ramen, it is obviously a cheap food. So I was just thinking off the top of my head what foods are cheap that you can get, and that also you need to apply. So for some reason you might be able to sell something in that category, but just don't bank on that you're always going to want to sell that brand. I highly suggest getting ungated in the whole category, and then just because you're ungated in the category of food, gourmet food, it doesn't mean that you'll be able to sell any sort of brand food, etc. Some are still going to be locked, but with that it'll just come with time to get them, but at least then it basically opens up your horizons to a lot more possibilities of things you can find at like TJ Maxx, etc. I've seen some people go to Costco and buy a bunch of stuff and then sell it on Amazon. So just because you are able to sell 1 item doesn't mean that you're always going to want to sell that item, nor will it be the most profitable. So I do highly suggest that you do get ungated in these really great categories. It doesn't mean that you have to go right off the bat and get ungated in everything. 2 things that I highly suggest are just food, and then also Topicals Beauty is also a really good money maker. So let's walk into the Seller Central. You are going to click add a product, and from there again you can just type in the actual name of the product, or if you want to get exact you can type in the actual barcode either on the box, the UPC, or you can open this and then get it off the individual products. Now sometimes too, when things come wholesale, they will say not labeled for individual sale on them, so you do need to think before you open up the packaging if you want to sell them in a 12-pack, a 24-pack, the 6-pack. Like, will it matter if you open it up and wreck the packaging? I mean, they still obviously are all individually new and not eaten, not open, but just to keep it all together nicely. I'm not going to open this one up, but I'll walk you through the Seller Central. Just scrolling through, we can see many different ramens, as there are other brands, there are other flavors, and there are other size packaging. So we do want to look through. We can see that one over here has the actual just normal ramen, not the portable to-go cup, so we don't want to use that one. We want to use the actual instant lunch noodles cup. And once we found it, can kind of shop around to see what, if anything, more so breaking even, but if it will be a better deal if I can sell it individually, a 6-pack, sell the whole case, etc. So once landing on one, we'll open up, click apply to sell, and from there we can see that we need our invoice and we need the products right away. Sometimes I've seen that they do just have where you will need just the invoice right away, but they will request the images later on. So if you do want to get that out of the way, you can just send it right off the bat. So with that too, again, especially with expiration, but just any sort of item in general, they do ask that it must be within 180 days, and it does give you that exact date back, so you don't have to do the math of how long ago that was. But I do suggest not buying something and then letting it sit around. Like, you might as well just apply to sell and get ungated right away. And then you will need your name and address that matches the information on your selling account. So I had written in the extra address label both my actual real name and then my business name on there. And then it needs to show the actual wholesalers, which it does in the top left. You can see it says dollar days. It shows their company name, their address, their zip code, etc. You need to show again what I was referring to, make it very clear on the invoice that it is at least 10 units, as that is one of the checked marked requirements. And if you want, you can hide how much you paid for from Amazon, but they really don't care. There's already the set prices online, and you as the seller get a control if you want to be way above or below the average price that is currently listed online. So I personally do not spend my time to omit the pricing and letting Amazon know how much I paid for it. And then you do need to know that if they need to, for some reason they don't think this is legit, they can reach out to the vendor. I don't think that happens that often, but maybe with more prestige brands it could. And then in the optional comments, I would not say that this is optional. Again, you need to write it out like you were talking to somebody that has no idea about any of this, even though we assume that the back-end approvers know about the whole process, glitches that can happen with wholesalers, but no. So I will show you up on the screen an example of everything I typed out, just making it very, very detailed of the date I purchased it, how many I purchased, how many come in a case, the brand, individually wrapped, etc., where they're from, etc., even though they can see it all in the invoice, but just pretend like the invoice isn't there in the comments area and just lay it all down for them. So then you will need to add your file in there, just attach it. And then from there, you must also do live photos. And when they say live, it doesn't mean that you have to do like the live photo of the feature on the iPhone where you can like kind of see it moving. No. So basically what they mean is that it's just like a real life photo. Like maybe you throw your hand in there, or your dog's paw, or some other random piece of fluff on the ground, like just so that they know that you didn't download this case pack image from the wholesaler or from Google Images or from somebody's random video and you screenshot it. Like, they need to know that this is your actual products that you purchased and it is legit what the invoice is saying. So I'll just take a picture of like a bird's eye view, the side view of the pictures, and then also with the side view just making sure that the UPC of the item is visible. And I mean, for this it is very much visible. Usually it's not that large for some items. And then two, on the outside of the box, make sure if it doesn't say the actual, like sometimes when it ships it'll come in a box from the actual distributor that Dollar Days bought it from, so it'll be right there. But if it doesn't show that, I'll also just have the packing slip next to the box, just something to show branding of the wholesaler and the brand and everything. And then it says it must be in your country's local language, so assuming that you didn't order this off some international wholesaler, which probably would be pretty expensive, but I'm signed up for US marketplace. I think it might, some of my products might work in Canada, but yeah, just make sure it's in English, no problem there. And then once you have that, add all the files. They do need to be JPEG files, which I do hate when your iPhone turns them into those HEIC photos and then I have to convert them. So annoying, but whatever. And then for the pictures, I don't really go in elaboration of all the photos, like please see image 1, you can see exactly 4 inches by whatever. No, you don't have to get that detailed. So I would just do more so comments for the invoice part. Don't necessarily waste your time doing a bunch of comments for the product images, as they should just speak for themselves. and then you can add your email address and or phone number. I do not ever leave my phone number. I'll just, if it's that concerning, like, I'll get to it later if I don't get approved right away. So right there we'll have the email address. Just add it and you'll hit submit, and then it will say thank you, they're pending your request. And then from there you can actually see if you want to check on your request. They will email you once approved, but you can also go to catalog right at the top left and click view selling applications, just if you want to see it says pending. And then if there is for any reason that they need further identification of anything further in your application, it will go straight to your case log, and through there some customer service representative will tell you exactly what they need and what needs to be changed, and from there you can send it to them. Sometimes it can just get approved right there. Other times I've had to have it where then you have to reapply for an item. So like for when I needed that extra form for the 501k, whenever I get that, I will have to reapply as like adding that as a formal attachment, just through like their protocol of everything. But once you get approved, I'll pop up my little approved email there to show that this does in fact work for $23. Then once you're approved, it's easy as that. You get the congrats email, there's a smile on your face, and from there you are officially ungated, and you can go and start scanning away at random things and start to sell them, and it's easy as that. And then the only thing that changes is when you go to inventory, add a product, instead of clicking apply to sell, it will show you all of the things, and then you can just click your condition, new, used, refurbished, or like collectible is the other one. Then you'll be able to sell them. And obviously with food you want it to be selling it as new and not used. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Please give a thumbs up if you thought this was helpful, and please comment down below if this also worked for you and or any other wholesalers that are your favorites. I have heard of a few others that I'll put in the description box, but the thing that turned me away from them is that you do have to have your official business number and LLC, etc. paperwork, and I do not need that right now. I am not in that tax bracket state where my business physically needs to be there yet, so I'm not going to pay for an LLC yet. So that's why I was just digging around for other wholesalers where it is possible to just do it as your own little business, no further paperwork or anything else required for your business. So thanks again so much, and I'll let you know if I find any other amazing FBA deals.